What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Renegade Animation on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I'll be your host for this evening. Joining me, as always, is my co-captain, Cameron.
Howdy, y'all.
Now, today's going to be a pretty light episode for reviews, but boy, did we fall behind on trailer reactions. So we've got a bunch of those, plus we've got reviews for the season 2 premiere of Looney Tunes Cartoons. We've got a Funimation exclusive film called A Stranger by the Shore. And our next stop on the Ghibli journey, The Cat Returns. But first, Cameron, what the hell are we reacting to?
Oh, what aren't we reacting to? We got everything all across the animation spectrum. Before its official release in Japan, Studio Chizu released another trailer for Belle, which really dives into the Beauty and the Beast comparisons. It looks great. I'm so excited for this film. It's, as we are recording this, playing at the Cannes Film Festival, and of course G-Kids will bring it out later. It's a great looking trailer.
I'm just jealous for everyone who is at the Cannes Film Festival and had a chance to watch this or will have a chance to watch this, because looking at that third trailer and leaning as heavily into not only the Beauty and the Beast parallels, but also that it's kind of sort of a musical or has musical elements. It's a movie that screams, Mike, you need to see this.
Yeah, no, it just looks great. And then Disney decided to give us a teaser for their new upcoming film Encanto, which doesn't really show much in terms of plot outside of really just like some gags about this family and such in Colombia. That news report we talked about a while back with Stephanie Beatrice playing the main character as Mirabelle was right. And it's a gorgeous looking trailer. I mean, I have many complaints about the Disney company as a whole, but their animators, the team of animators they have for their films are great.
Yes. And also, this is part of the Miranda-sance, as I'm calling the year 2021. And pretty much the second you hear the music in this trailer, you know you're in for a good time.
Yeah, it's really appealing, and I like the designs of the characters. It's cool to see a main character with like frizzy hair and glasses. I've seen a lot of people who are of Colombian and Latina X backgrounds really hyping the film, like being like, oh my gosh, like this looks great. Then of course they also have, which are also very valid, complaints and criticisms and worries and such, because it's Disney tackling another culture. So it looks good though. It's very cute. It doesn't show off too much, which I'm happy about.
I don't think we're getting another a story trailer for probably another month or two, but as the announcement trailer is concerned, this looks spectacular.
Indeed. Speaking of showing off everything in the trailer, we got Sing 2. They really did show off too much, way too much in this trailer. It looks great. I love the little animal singing gags that they brought back from the first film, especially that little monkey thing singing Billie Eilish. That's probably my favorite little visual gag of just everyone just going like, oh my gosh. Because if you listen to that Billie Eilish song, like out of context, it's like, whoa. What did you think about this trailer overall, though?
I think I like the theatrical cut better than the one they released online. I don't know how it is for your theater, but my theater will only show like about 5 trailers max before the movie starts.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they cut the Sing 2 trailer for theaters is it's tighter. It's down to like 2 minutes at most. It doesn't feel as spoilery as the online version, but as for what I think of the movie so far, it looks like an Illumination movie. And say what you will about the overuse of their kind of one-note house style. Like what I've always liked about Sing is it still kind of has its own identity.
Yeah, well, that's because it's directed by a different person than their in-house team of people. And I mean, that's why it's so exciting to hear that Benjamin Renner, the director of Ernest and Celestine and The Big Bad Fox, is going to direct an Illumination film. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see what he offers. And Illumination films tend to be better when they get an outside hand
Agreed.
to deal with it. I just wish they kept a few of the plot lines out of the trailer, at least the one they released online, because you kind of get what exactly the whole plot, the whole story is going to be. And I loved seeing the lion Calloway, who's voiced by the U2 singer Bono, and
he sounds great. It doesn't sound like the usual celebrity just kind of cashing in on their own fame.
Yeah, no, Illumination is, and like the best voice directors are good at telling celebrities, do not play yourself. Because I mean, that's how Harrison Ford was in The Secret Life of Pets 2. He was the best part of that movie. And he had the best performance, even though I love Patton Oswalt. But it looks cute. I like the visual designs. I love the gag of the receptionist in the sports car listening to System of a Down.
Every time I see that, it just cracks me up.
I mean, I don't care if it's an easy gag. I love it. No, it looks cute, and I like that little bit of added whimsy at the end where they like have the music that's booming up as Nick Kroll's character is jumping off and such. Like, it's a very easy emotional manipulation thing to the trailer. I'm sure this film's going to be harmless. I don't have the hate for Illumination. I'm just glad we're getting an Illumination film this year, because it was
same.
It feels very weird when they are out of the loop.
It also feels very weird that, like, as of this recording, Minions 2 is still slated for 2022.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, but it's frustrating a little. But we'll just have to see how things go. Then we had the HBO Max original animated series by C.H. Greenblatt, Jellystone, based off of the Hanna-Barbera characters. And it looks cute. I really liked the trailer. I mean, we'll have to see how it is, like, as you watch every episode and how the characters are portrayed. But I did love the Boo Boo, is that Yogi's friend's name?
Yep.
How it's just like, I'm being sued for malpractice, and he just had like the best face when he said all that. He just said it straight. It makes me laugh every time I watch it.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite joke of the entire trailer. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't that big of a fan of Chowder, not because I didn't think it was funny. It's just when that show was released was kind of after my time, but I'm still a fan of this art style. I think it works well for the Hanna-Barbera characters, and the humor is, it's contemporary, but it's funny. It's got a nice rhythm to it. These visual gags, I can see taking off pretty well.
And I know some people are like, well, it doesn't look like the original shows. The animation doesn't look like it. And it's like, I'm sorry. The original cartoons that these characters were from also had very lifeless animation. I'm sorry. Looking back, I mean, they worked with what they were given, and it works most of the time. I'm sorry. I just hate those people who are just like, anything past 1960 is crap. And it's like, come on now. Don't be like that.
I agree with that too, especially once you really dive into the history of Hanna-Barbera. You start to remove those rose-colored lenses.
A lot of animation fans need to start doing that. It's tiring dealing with them. But otherwise, it looks great. I can't wait. I love this creator. I really love Chowder. The fourth wall gag of the Cartoon Network logo on the corner of the screen gets me, like, almost makes me like want to bust a rib of how much I laugh, which is like, well, can we get rid of that? Get rid of what? That thing. Oh, no. That's permanent. I've tried. Trust me. Or like when they run out of money, they're like, do you know what happens when we run out of money? you guys go out of business. Worse. And it cuts to all the voice actors in a voice booth. We run out of animation.
Meta humor like that will never fail to make me laugh.
The show was full of that stuff. It was great. And it was also after my time, but I still was able to fully enjoy it. Now, next we go to the Netflix teaser for Q-Force, a spy action comedy series with a full-on LGBTQ plus cast of characters and creators and showrunners. I can understand the mixed reception. There are some of the jokes that weren't very funny, but I'm still gonna laugh hard when they bust into that room. And it's like, man, I wasted all that masculine energy for nothing. It's like, it's the ideal just let down punchline of action shows. And it looks fine. Like, the animation looks pretty solid. It looks different from a lot of adult comedies, which I am so happy for. And like, they're not just taking the bento box approach, or they're not using bento box. Nothing against them. It's just, once you see 5 or 6 shows from them, their style tends to be very repetitive.
I'm watching the trailer again on mute, and it's a little bit more a stylized version of like the animation from She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't particularly think this show looks all that great. I will put a huge asterisk on this fact that there were prominent members of the LGBTQ community who were involved in making this. I don't want to speak over that community. And on that note, it also kind of bothers me that because of the trailer's mixed reception, that said creators have been getting like all sorts of harassment, and that's not okay. You can have reservations about a show or a movie, a video game, whatever, but please, I beg of you, please respect the people behind the scenes.
Yes, you cannot like the show. I perfectly understand the concerns and worries about how this show is going to execute its humor. Half of the jokes in the trailer were funny, half of them were not. I get it. But do not harass the creators. Please. Stop being a terrible fan base. Stop harassing people. Just stop it. It's not that hard. Anyway, let's move on to something that's a little more aggravating than it should be. The straight out of nowhere Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog trailer. I understand why this collaboration happened. I don't care that the creator is not a part of the film. I just wish that they would freaking pick a cohesive art style with this, because the Courage art style does not mix with the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo look. The characters do not mix, especially when you see the other humans that look exactly like the ones from Courage. The Mystery Gang looks off.
Yeah, I'm noticing a little bit of a dissonance between these characters.
It's like, that was the thing about Courage the Cowardly Dog. It had a very distinct visual look, and now it just looks like someone's terrible fanfic came to life. Because I get it. Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog in one movie? I get it. That makes sense. Unlike a lot of collaborations, this one makes sense. And I love all the little gags and Easter eggs from Courage the Cowardly Dog. I love that the Bigfoot character is part of their flag. Per capita, more weird and creepy, mysterious stuff happens in nowhere than anywhere else in the world. That's a cute gag. I like that. I love hearing Courage again. I like Courage the Cowardly Dog. And
by the way, the show's on HBO Max if anyone wants to check it out.
It gets kind of creepy in the later half, so heads up. Well, creepier, let's just say that. I guess it being a direct-to-video film kind of dooms it with having to look so bland, even though that sounds weird,
As far as like the two styles not meshing, I don't think that's really a deal breaker for me, only because this is kind of the problem that a lot of cartoon crossovers have. Do you remember any of the crossovers from the Lilo and Stitch animated series? Where like Lilo would cross over with Kim Possible, Recess.
Yeah, American Dragon.
Yep. And how like they didn't even try to match the animation styles.
Yeah, it looked distracting. The only ones that ever matched were like the Aladdin and Hercules crossover, but that was because they came out during the same time period.
Everything about Butch Hartman aside, I think some of the best crossovers in terms of successfully blending the two different art styles are the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour trilogy, because I think they did a really smart thing. You know, when the two characters are in like each other's world, they adapt to their surroundings. While results can be mixed, like I really don't think Butch Hartman's character models translate in that gaudy early 2000s CGI.
Oh, it does not at all.
My point though is that is kind of the gold standard of how to do a crossover with two different art styles at once. Whereas this is like kind of like you said, it is sort of like a fanfic come to life. That's not a bad thing, like on its face. I like a Scooby and Courage crossover is something that like 10-year-old Mike would have dreamed of.
Right. It's just like it's the human designs. They don't match. And I'll give a kudos to like the Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold crossover. At least they chose a Batman series that would perfectly fit the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo films.
Oh yeah.
That made sense, even if I didn't like the overall movie. But yeah, we'll just have to see. I'm curious to see how like that. I'm really more curious about the tone more than anything else, but we'll have to see. So recently, with MAPPA celebrating 10 years of productions, they announced that among a new anime series releasing next anime season, they are making a Chainsaw Man adaptation. Before we talk about this and then the movie that they're making with Mario Okada, we need change within the anime industry. Stop treating the animators like garbage. And if that means you have to cut down like half of the anime made every season just so they can get paid better and they can be treated better, I'm all for it. I am not excusing MAPPA for their bad business practices when we praise this Chainsaw Man trailer and the new Mario Okada film. Just so we're clear, because we've been very vocal about how the anime industry is run.
Oh yeah.
With all that said,
holy crap, does Chainsaw Man look great?
It looks very good. I mean, this is MAPPA. Working conditions aside, there's a reason why their anime look so good. And it's very vibrant. The designs move fluidly. And I know some people were very worried about how exactly they were going to adapt this. And I get it. I understand that like what works in a manga format may not translate well to an anime format. But this mix of 2D and CGI looks great, because Chainsaw Man was one of those manga that hit, like, we're one of the new titans of horror action, like Jujutsu Kaisen and such. So I'm very excited for it. Of course, with the knowledge that the working conditions and all that jazz.
Is this from the same kanji as Jujutsu Kaisen?
I don't think so. But they did have like a string of like really big talent that's going to be working on it. Ryu Nakayama, who was an episode director for Jujutsu Kaisen, is directing the anime. And then you got like Hiroshi Seko, who worked on Attack on Titan, is writing the scripts. Kazutaka Sugiyama, who worked on Jobless Reincarnation, is designing the characters. Tatsuya Yoshihara, who worked on like Monster Musume and Black Clover, is directing the action. Then we got like Makoto Nakazono, who did Brock's favorite anime, Darling in the Franxx, is serving as the technical director. You got Kiyotaka Oshiyama, who worked on Devilman Crybaby and Space Dandy, who's designing the Devils, which makes a lot of sense. Then you got Yusuke Takeda, is the art director. Then you got like Naomi Nakano for color key artists, and it's a who's who in anime production.
That is an all-star creative team right there.
Yeah, and that's the pro and con of Mappa. They put a lot of good work in, but they are just not a well-run studio. And I hate that because it makes enjoying these shows less fun, you know? And then, speaking of with Mappa, they have a trailer for a film penned by Mario Kata, who is directing and writing the Alice to Trece Illusory Factory film, which this looks great. Just a visual level, it's amazing to look at.
I don't really know much about Mario Kata, but just going by this trailer, it looks beautiful. And I don't know when this is getting a stateside release, but this feels like something that I need to see in theaters.
Yeah, Mario Kata, for those that may not know, did Anohana, O Maidens and Your Savage Voyage, Makia, When the Promised Flowers Bloom, and wrote this story for A Whisker Away, but I don't blame her for that. So it's like her style is, do you like feeling emotions? Do you like that moment when you're about to cry in a Pixar film? We're turning that to 11. So, because like Makia is just one of the few films I will ugly cry when watching. So it looks good and a cool first love Fantasia story. There's a lot of fun to be had. And it looks great. They haven't set a release date, so we'll just have to see. Now for Netflix, they released a teaser trailer for Spriggan. They're I think the last of their lineup from last October that they showed off.
I think so, yeah.
And I think this will work better as a series than the movie that came out in, I forgot when, like either late 90s or early 2000s.
1998.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Which had great animation, but a mediocre plot. Like the action in that film looked great. And it looks good. This mix of 2D and CGI, I think will give it more advantages in the action department. We'll just have to see how the story goes and what have you. And then Disney was just like, hey, we got more stuff to talk about. We got released the official trailer for the Marvel What If series that's coming out next month on August 11th with, a bunch of stories of what if stories, like what if Black Panther became Star-Lord, or what if Killmonger met Tony Stark. It looks great. I love this CGI animation that they're using. It's very stylish.
Oh yeah. The CGI looks great. There's one thing I need to address because there's this one fake news article going around like with a headline that says like Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange have been like quietly replaced, and that article is bullshit because those actors aren't going anywhere. And B, according to Wikipedia, characters like Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Tannelir Teven the Collector, Doctor Strange, Carol Danvers, they will appear, but they'll be voiced by different actors who portray them in the movies. I'm going to assume that's because of scheduling, that maybe they couldn't get these actors in for a recording session. So they must have hired voice actors for match vocals or.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see because they did bring a bunch of the main MCU cast back, like Chris Hemsworth and such, and this will be the very last thing we hear Chadwick Boseman in, which is going to be gut-wrenchingly sad.
Yeah.
But I like the creativity. I like seeing that they're going to finally tackle Marvel zombies. That's going to be dark.
I think that and obviously T'Challa as Star-Lord are probably two of my most anticipated episodes of this series. They don't really make it clear in this trailer whether each episode is sort of like its own story or like they all kind of converge towards the end. Whatever the scenario is, I just know this looks great and I want to see this as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, and then it's got my man, Howard the Duck.
Voiced by Seth Green.
Yeah. Now, we got another trailer for Hotel Transylvania Transformania, and it adds a little more to, everything. We see, of course, Blobby turn into a thing green jello. And the rest of the journey of them going to South America to cure them of their humanness. It looks really cute. I'm curious to see how the story unfolds. Some of the visual gags are funny. Like I love like when Drac is like, "Oh no, the sun," and Andy Samberg's character is just like, "You're not a vampire anymore. You can enjoy the sun." And it's like it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and then his eyes just dry up instantly because you still don't stare at the sun, people. Just don't stare at the sun. It looks good, and I still like this animation. I know some people are not on board with Sony's like frantic cartoony animation. I love it. So
Yeah, I think this style of like cartoony kind of Looney Tunes style visual gags in CG animation, Sony has by this point pretty much perfected that art form.
yeah, it looks really good. The shading's all nice, and it's all very snappy. I really dig it.
Cameron, I have to point out, this is coming out the same day as Addams Family 2. So the question is, which one do you think will move and which one stays on this date?
I'm gonna say they're just gonna fight. I'm gonna be like Ken Watanabe and Godzilla. Let them fight. I can't see them moving anything. Like it's lucrative, and I think they'll both do well because speaking of, we got an Addams Family 2 trailer, and since that film, the previous one was made on a very small budget, and this one looks to be on an also equally small budget, I think it will be fine unless people just do not show up for it. But wouldn't make for a bad double feature. I just
one interesting note about the sequel is the voice of Pugsley has been replaced. In the first film, he was voiced by Finn Wolfhard, but in this movie, he is voiced by Javin Wana Walton.
I mean, like overall with this trailer, it looks fine. The visuals look a little more polished, a lot more textures went into like the water and details and such, where I enjoyed the 2019 film, but it really pushed like, okay, this looks super direct to video or low key streaming service. Like the only thing that kept it in theaters was the voice cast that it had.
Yeah, the voice cast for the Addams Family is picture perfect.
Well, it's like they did a good job. They had, Oscar Isaac, Nick Kroll, Charlize Theron, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yep.
As Wednesday. And of course, Wednesday still had the best gag with the voodoo doll in the trailer. But the story, you really couldn't come up with a better story than a family road trip? I don't know. It seems very 90s Addams Family and not what the Addams Family would actually do.
Yeah, for better for worse, I'm getting kind of Addams Family Values vibes from this. And as much as I love Family Values, I don't like the idea of this franchise basically riding the coattails of the 90s movies. I would prefer if they kind of formed their own identity, or at the very least stayed closer to the original Charles Addams comics.
Or at least stay close to the original black and white sitcom. Because that one was also very charming and funny still. Like, you watch it, it holds up probably more than most of those shows from that time period. The trailer has a few cute lines, like I like Uncle Fester being like, "Oh boy, dinner, my favorite meal to eat during the nighttime." And that little, of course, gag of like, "Man, I still can't understand what he's saying," with Cousin It. Though, why did they bring back Snoop Dogg? It's so pointless. You can't tell it's him, not in a, whoa, he's acting. No, they sped up his voice.
It could have been anyone. I think maybe part of his contract is he gets to make an entrance using one of his own songs.
Yeah, because, that was cute. I did dig that. I don't know. I guess I wanted to see if this film was going to go up an ante with the dark comedy, but we'll just have to see. It looks harmless. We've already seen Spirit Untamed. It has to be better than that. It has to be more interesting than that.
Oh, of course.
And then we got a full trailer for Netflix's Masters of the Universe, Revelation Part 1. The more I see of this Masters of the Universe series or special or miniseries, it just looks great. Like, I'm so pumped for it. The animation, even for like Powerhouse animation standards, looks way better and more interesting. And I know some people were like, "Oh, the trailer's revealed to us, and they're lying. He-Man's not going to be the main character." And it's just like, y'all, come on.
I'm ignoring literally everyone who's saying all that, and not just because Kevin Smith himself is like, "Hey, none of that's true. Sit down."
Yeah, just sit down and shut up, everyone. And plus, be thankful you're getting something with He-Man. You know, they could have just let this thing die into dust.
He-Man at its best is Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings. And with this trailer, I get exactly that vibe.
And I'm sorry, I do love the corniness of the 80s series and the early 2000s series. It has to be a mix of all that for me, for it to work. Because it's already got me with its animation and the voice cast. I mean, come on, Mark Hamill as Skeletor. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just have to see. I can't wait to see it later this month.
Same.
And then we got the Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms animated film trailer. This trailer and film announcement came out of nowhere because I feel like they were already going to make a sequel anyway. But I think the original, like the first one, Scorpion's Revenge, was supposed to come out during the same time as Mortal Kombat, but you know, the pandemic.
Right.
So they just released it to just like, here's a Mortal Kombat thing. And now that the Mortal Kombat film came out, I didn't care for it, but that's just me. And now it's like, okay, people want Mortal Kombat stuff. Well, here's a new movie. And I will say, Battle of the Realms looks fun. I can't wait for this.
This looks like the Mortal Kombat movie that we all want. I think I liked Scorpion's Revenge a little bit more than you did, but I think we can both agree that this movie just looks great. And it's a shame we probably won't ever get Joel McHale as a live-action Johnny Cage because he's kind of the perfect casting for that character.
Oh, he's so perfect. Like, I just love that. It's like, okay, you know what? Fine. You wanted fights. We're going to give you fights. It's probably going to be action heavy. There's going to be very little plot. But I did love, I love that they brought Stryker on, like one of the most boring Mortal Kombat characters. They just brought a cop into a battle for the fate of humanity. And I don't care that he was voiced by Ron Perlman in that 90s cartoon that was awful. It's just surreal. You got Kung Fu artists, you got Jax with the robot arms, you got Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and apparently Sub-Zero's brother. And yet, yeah, sure, let's bring the mall cop along. No offense to Stryker fans or Stryker himself. It's funny. I'm sorry. It's going to be funny. But it looks good. I hope it's fun. It just needs to be exciting. It needs to be like Batman Soul of the Dragon, and I'll be happy. So
as long as it matches Soul of the Dragon, I will be satisfied. Oh, yeah. One last thing, Shao Kahn.
Oh, Shao Kahn. I'm just happy to see him. So before we go, though, we did see a trailer for Tig Notaro's Drawn, her new comedy special that's coming out later this month as well, which we might have to tackle because, come on, it's a fully animated comedy special.
It's kind of right in our wheelhouse.
We have to. When are we ever going to talk about an animated comedy special? Never. I really dig that they went with all these vibrant art styles for the jokes. Like, they don't just stick to one. Like, they could have easily just done one art style and just have Tig just walking back and forth on the stage with an animated crowd. But then they went like, we don't have to do anything. We could just go out of 5. And then Tig and the team of animators are like, okay, so you want us to go to 15. Okay, we'll do that. The animation looks great.
I think this trailer kind of blew me away because I wasn't expecting the variety nearly to this extent. I think like at most I was expecting like for lack of a better term that like that kind of Scooby-Doo direct to video sort of like base animation style.
Yeah, like the one that you see through the most part of the trailer. It's like I could have easily seen them do that, but then they don't. And it's great looking. And it's also very funny. I love the Kool-Aid Man joke that they throw in there and then the spider one at the end.
That was fun.
Yeah, and just all the visual stuff, or like the one where Tig is talking is like, I collapsed due to internal bleeding, and then you hear someone in the audience go, "Woo!" and she's like, "Thank you."
Oh, I think another one of my favorite jokes was like, "Oh, is that a new laugh you're trying out?"
Oh yeah, yeah. It sounds like you had a new laugh to try out. It's like, okay, I think I'm going to do it, and then she does it, and you just have to have fun when a comedian does that, like reacts to an audience member, because the best comedians will take that and run with it. Like if you've seen like Gabriel Iglesias, he does that so much. Like with his, I think it's called like the one special that fits all. He does that like when someone says, "We love you, Fluffy," and due to the context of a joke he talked about, he's like, "Are you going to give me a Prius?" It just looked great. And then we had our first trailer reveal for the upcoming My Little Pony series and film, A New Generation, which included Vanessa Hudgens as our main character, Sunny Star Scout, Kimiko Glenn as Izzy Moonbow, James Marsden as Hitch Trailblazer, Sophia Carson as Pip Petals, Lisa Koshy as Zip Storm, Ken Jeong as Sprout, Elizabeth Perkins as Phyllis, Jane Krakowski as Queen Haven, Phil Lamar as Alpha Biddle, and Michael McKean as Argyle. I love this cast.
Did they really need to go that hard for My Little Pony, A New Generation? Like, I get it. It's Netflix. They have like infinite money tree, but come on, look at this.
This is great. Well, I love seeing Kimiko Glenn in more stuff. I just love her. And I love seeing James Marsden because I feel like people kind of slept on him as an actor, and then everyone's like, "Oh wait, he's can be a good and can be a very funny actor." Who knew? I knew, but still. And of course, I love seeing Phil Lamar and Jane Krakowski, and it'll be interesting to see Michael McKean because he's in that new Rugrats show we haven't talked about yet.
Oh yeah,
But we'll have to get to that sometime because we still have to get to the Fungies and Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous.
our backlist is backed up.
Yeah, it is. Luckily, we can now get to what we actually need to talk about. We are done with the trailers. Whew. All right. Let's quickly talk about the Looney Tunes Season 2 batch of cartoons. It's good. I mean, what else can you say that we haven't said already about the first 3 batches of shorts? Like, they add a few new things. They return with the Beaky Buzzard gags. They have more new telephone gags. And then they do a new one with Foghorn Leghorn and the dog with the end of the leash gags.
Mm-hmm.
But they also do a lot more, like they'll either do 2 to 3 segments. They were definitely a lot more like open to just like going off on that because, sometimes you might have enough ideas for 2 segments or for 1 segment or 3. Really, like they don't like nothing has really changed, but they make about 3 deep cuts.
Oh yeah. One of them is, as Cameron pointed out to me earlier, Porky's nephew, Cicero, is apparently a character from the comics who's kind of making his animation debut. And that's kind of a big deal because most modern incarnations of the Looney Tunes are really just kind of resorted to, the marquee names like the Bugs and the Daffy and the Porky, Sylvester, Wile E. Coyote, but like we don't get to see the deep cuts as often.
No, and then they bring back Charlie Dog for the Adopt Me short, which I think that's my favorite one because it's just nonstop visual gags and puns. And then which one was it? It was the one where Bugs encounters the dog with the red hair.
Rage Rover?
No,
I don't know. I don't.
no, not that one. That's the very funny Marvin the Martian one dealing with the moon rover with the rover on Mars.
Okay, yeah, that one was funny.
Oh, and to the teammates or the team members of the Looney Tunes team that snuck in a Rover Dangerfield reference. I love y'all.
I saw that and I'm like, what? Are you serious?
It's like, that rover is going over my Dangerfield. And it's like, oh, you sneaky sons of a gun. Oh, the short I'm talking about is Bonehead with the red Russian dog, voiced by
That's the one.
Yeah, voiced by James Arnold Taylor, in a very not James Arnold Taylor role. Maybe it's just because I recently watched that terrible Ratchet and Clank film. Like, I'm so used to his Titus and Ratchet voice, or his Green Arrow from Brave and the Bold, but you could not tell that was him.
To his credit, James Arnold Taylor he's a very perfect mimic. Like, a lot of the characters in his repertoire are voice matches. I think he's done Captain Jack Sparrow in one of the Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh yeah, he did.
He's best known for Obi-Wan Kenobi, for the Star Wars, Clone Wars, and I think he was in a little bit of Rebels. That's like his claim to fame. But then he shows up in something like this. He still just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, no. The actors that they have for these shorts are so good. They do a fantastic job impersonating that specific time period of the characters. Were you expecting them to kind of dive into the darker humor, like in Rotund Rabbit?
Oh God. That and Mummy Dummy, those get gruesome.
They absolutely do. And I give like the teams making these, like writing and setting these up. Battle of the Bunk sounds like such a limited idea for a short. Like, it sounds like it would have been better as a like in between gag. But I love that they just go the extra mile with it, especially like when Daffy gets Porky off the top bunk by turning the bottom bunk into a typewriter. And then they go through all this hassle and hell, and it's just like, you know what, I'm too tired for this. How about we just share the top bunk? And then we'll talk about it in the morning. It was very amusing. I loved the humor. The humor in these shorts is still very top notch. I love the Asphalt and Battery. First of all, that's a dark title.
Mm-hmm.
They're still knocking it out of the park. I haven't found one episode so far, or one short where I would have said, oh, that was a misfire. I mean, like, what do you think? Like, would you say there was one that you were like, I don't know?
Honestly, not really. Because even if, like, I think some of my least favorite, like, transitions are, I love Tweety and Sylvester, but I don't think the telephone pole gags go far enough. But Hot Air Buffoon is that was fun. I
think the telephone gag where he's climbing up the pole and then it goes upside down, like where he's climbing up and it looks like he was turned upside down, and then he's going down and then like the ground crushes him from both ends.
That one's good.
That's a very Tex Avery, Bob Clampett kind of like joke. I just love these shorts. But again, just like the last batch that we talked about, I'm kind of ready for them to start shaking things up a bit. I understand why they do pair Daffy with Porky and such. I get that. I'm glad that they paired Daffy up with Elmer Fudd again, though not as dark of a punchline at the end as the Shoe Shine one. But I'm ready and maybe it's just because I grew up with more of the Chuck Jones incarnations of the characters, like Bugs interacting with Daffy a whole lot. I'm kind of ready to see more variations among the main cast. And I get it. They make these in like big batches, so they probably are like constantly thinking ahead of time of what they're making and such. Like, what are they going to make shorts out of? But it's like, oh, we got more Sylvester and Tweety, more Bugs on his own, more Daffy and Porky together. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to see some new combinations. Like, I'm really curious how this Daffy would interact with this Bugs. I also kind of want to see like a new iteration of Bugs Bunny outsmarting Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, because that happened in like what, one or two of the shorts.
I think 5 total.
Whoa. And I don't know. It's like I'm not getting tired of these shorts. I'm not going to get tired of these shorts. They're all great, and all the talent behind them is great. I just want to see either more characters or more variation of like interactions and such, because you kind of know exactly what's going to happen now with Daffy and Porky. It's really just like when they decided to go the dark route of the jokes, like when in Rotund Rabbit, after Bugs loses all that excess weight.
He turns into more or less a rag doll.
A rag doll with just eyes that are just like sunken in, like gums bleeding red. It's like, oof. But like, what would you say about these shorts, like this new batch?
I think on the whole, this new batch it does a good job at continuing the spirit of the classic 1940s shorts, but B, they really lean into like the modern sense of humor that's, just family friendly enough that kids can still watch these, but just dark enough for adults who maybe like grew up with Cartoon Network in the early years, where like every day they had like Looney Tunes shorts, more frequently than they do now.
I'm enjoying these shorts. I love this new batch. I want to see more. I'm ready for more. With that said, let's move on to one of the two surprisingly short films we had to watch.
Yeah. The first one we have is available now on Funimation, The Stranger by the Shore, from Studio Hibari, written and directed by, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Akio Ohashi, based on the manga L'étranger de la plage by Kana Kiel. So on the island off the coast of Okinawa, 2 young men meet on the beach. Shun Hashimoto, a gay novelist, and Mio Chibana, a somber high school student. Day by day, the two of them grow closer, but then suddenly, Mio decides to leave the island. They reunite 3 years later, and Mio says he is ready to be with Shun, but will Shun make the commitment? So the total runtime for this movie is like 59 minutes. It's like just short of an hour. I think I could have used about 30 more minutes. Wouldn't you agree?
I think they could have made at least 20 or 30 more minutes to like add on to this, just to let everything breathe a little, just to let the characters just be characters. Let them live among the world that they set up. Because it's a very charming, low-key gay love story. And I like the two characters. I like their conflicts. Though I think some of them, one of them gets more of a story arc than the other. Which, like, I think Shun has the more, like, the arc of what he needs to... It's a coming-of-age kind of story. Story arc for him. Then Mio has a lot of build up, but then not a whole lot of payoff, because then it's really about him telling Shun to just grow up. Like, come on, just get it together and such. But, like, first of all, the animation for this film, it looks great. Just a lovely looking movie.
I think just the backgrounds alone are absolutely stunning. There's that one shot, the sunset, that I kind of want to like frame on my wall. It just looked amazing.
Yeah, it just great color usage, a lot of great backgrounds, and I get it. It's like the main arc is of Shun kind of getting over the hate of like discrimination and for being gay and just a rough family upbringing, and then of course a failed marriage, and then his feelings for Mio when because like when he first meets Mio is just like a high school student who recently lost his mom, and then he comes back a few years later when he's 20. So he was probably like 17 when he met Shun, and Shun is like 27, I think, by the time the story catches up.
Okay, that was one thing that kind of confused me. Like, I wasn't sure like what the age gap was, and one of the detriments of this movie being so short is that it kind of doesn't warn you that the time skip is about to happen. It just kind of happens.
That's the problem. Like we say 20 and 30 minutes because the story flows very roughly into each conflict because it has the like Shun and Mio first meeting, and then just the kind of angstiness of Mio dealing with the loss of his mom, and then it goes from Shun pretty much dealing with everything under the sun, like bad memories at school, a bad attempt at a wedding because he never actually got married, and then his just kind of like reigniting his feelings for Mio. And when the story is able to focus on that aspect of the story, it's really touching. It's very charming, and like it does a good job capturing the intimate relationship between Shun and Mio. And granted, the goal of them, like that is for them to have sex, is a little like, really? That's the best goal you could have come up with. Apparently the sequel manga to this story handles the story a bit better.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
That's what we were told.
my least favorite part of their love story is like, no pun intended, the climax is their climax. Other than that, I you know I was invested in their romance, and while Shun can sometimes come off as unlikable when he is, you know, basically a commitophobe, half the time I was yelling at Shun because to some extent I can kind of relate to that, in the sense that like people our age don't always know exactly what they want.
And I understand that because I was in that after I stopped getting a career for QA testing in the game industry. Like I was lost. I was like, I don't know what I want to commit to. And then I found something I loved, and that reignited my passion. And I'm happy about that. But yeah, I can understand some people being like, Shun, God dang it. and don't get me wrong, like as much as like the main end goal of them is to have sex is the passionate love making scene is handled very well.
Oh yeah.
It's very intimate, low key. It's not raunchy. It's portrayed in a very loving and very cute kind of way. And I give kudos to Josh Grell and Justin Briner for having to reenact that. But yeah, I give them kudos for having to act that out. And though my voice acting fan side of my brain is kind of stuck on the fact that Mio is the same voice actor who voices Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia, and Josh Grell voices Tokoyami from My Hero Academia. And it's like, oh, this is going to launch a bunch of weird unintentional fanfics.
Oh god, I can already picture the ships.
Yeah, no, it's just like I said, it's a very cute movie. I adored it, and I loved like the little offbeat or joke moments in their relationship. Like it can be a very funny movie.
Can we talk about like the supporting cast, like the family that Shun is living with, and how basically the dynamic between Shun and, is that his sister or like cousin, or
I think it was just another tenant who lived at that inn along with
well, whoever she was, their constant bickering always made me chuckle.
Yeah, no, they were very good, and I love that. It's like, oh man, you staying here has a lot of perks, doesn't it, Mio? And Shun's just like, shut up. But yeah, I wish they just added 20 or 30 more minutes. Like, it would have been fun just to see them walk around on the beach, just have some quiet time, like with each other, because a lot of the screen time is shared with them kind of in conflict with one another. Of like, Mio wants to be with Shun, but Shun doesn't really know what he wants. It takes up a little too much time, but at the same time, I get it. They needed some kind of plot.
Right.
It's very predictable gay romance plots, because I've kind of seen this before with Do Kiyose, Classmates, which is also an hour long. I don't know why these gay romance films get only an hour of runtime, because they could have absolutely used more. But in general, I really liked The Strangers by the Shore. It's not in my top 10. It's in my top 20, though. It's near the top 10.
I don't think this will stay at, like, it'll be far below my top 10, but I still really enjoyed this for what it was. It's a very sweet love story. The animation is gorgeous. The humor is subtle, but if you have like my kind of dry sense of humor, it's funny. Just go watch it. It won't cost you anything. Just a subscription to Funimation.
And that way you can watch a ton of great anime like Kageki Shoko and The Duke and his Maid. I'm just saying. Or you can watch Horimiya. Ton of great anime out this year on Funimation.
Which I can't wait to dive into.
Yeah, I have a few recommendations from Crunchyroll and Funimation. So, but yeah, I highly recommend it. Check it out. It's one of the few approachable and viable ways to watch, like legally watch a gay romance anime film that doesn't cost a huge amount of money like Dokyose did. Golly. Like, they wanted $60 for that
Really?
Blu-ray. Yeah, and it's this Aniplex. I think they were the same ones who distributed it, but I was like, no.
That makes sense now that they charge an arm and a leg.
Yeah, and like, I know people are like, well, just import it. Well, it's like, well, I don't want to deal with that hassle, even if you have a region-free Blu-ray player. And of course, as usual, just like, I'm not fully into piracy, but I get it if some people have to. But definitely, if you can support the official release of it, do so.
Yes. We've approached our next stop on the Ghibli journey. It has taken us to 2002's The Cat Returns, a spin-off of a movie we haven't gotten to yet, Whisper of the Heart, based on the manga of the same name by
Aoi Hiragi, and it's directed by Hiroyuki Morita, one of the few non-Ghibli originals or Ghibli regulars at the studio to direct a official feature film.
At the time, this was only the second film not directed by Miyazaki or Takahata. So the story, we follow Haru, a schoolgirl bored by her ordinary routine. One day, she saves the life of an unusual cat, and suddenly her world is transformed beyond anything she ever imagined. The Cat King, voiced by the ever-awesome Tim Curry, rewards her good deed with a flurry of presents, including a very shocking proposal of marriage to his son. Haru embarks on an unexpected journey to the kingdom of cats, where her eyes are opened to a whole other world.
So let's talk a little bit about the production history of this film. It's actually really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Because it, when they released Whisper of the Heart back in 1995, which is a great Ghibli film, one of my favorites. It was also based off of a manga by the same person who did The Cat Returns.
Yep.
And then they were commissioned by a Japanese theme park to create a 20-minute short starring cats. And Miyazaki wanted 3 elements. He wanted the Baron, Muta, and a mysterious antique shop. Well, things fell through. the manga came out, Baron the Cat Returns. And so then he thought, like, I'll do something with this, and turned it into a 45-minute long short. And then he was looking and was like, okay, y'all, we're kind of busy right now directing our next movies. Who wants to tackle this? And then Hiroyuki Morita, who worked on like My Neighbors the Yamadas, translated Hiragi's story into 525 pages of storyboards. Woof! But it's storyboards, so it makes sense it's that big. And Miyazaki said, like, yeah, sure, we'll turn it into a movie, a 75-minute long movie, because they liked how Morita handled Haru. And then, well, this is what happens. But it also had help from Production IG and DR Movie and Telecom Animation Film. Well, Mike, for your first non-Miyazaki and non-Takahata directed film out of 3 or so, or 4, what did you think about this one?
I really liked it. I'd be lying if I said it was on the same level of like the classics like Castle in the Sky or even Only Yesterday, but for what it is, basically an extended version of what would have been a 45-minute short. It's really good. I think what elevates this for me is the English dub cast, which listen to some of these names. You got Anne Hathaway as Haru, Cary Elwes reprising his role as the Baron, Peter Boyle as Muta, who is he's just a laugh riot. Elliot Gould as Toto, Tim Curry obviously as the Cat King, Andrew Bevis as Prince Lune, Judy Greer as Yuki, Renee Aubergenois as Natori, and one of my favorites, Andy Richter as Natoru, Christine Sutherland as Haru's mom, Naoko, and a young Kristen Bell as Hiromi. That's a stacked cast for an English dub of an anime, wouldn't you say?
It's a very good cast for a very small scale film. This is one of the shorter Ghibli films because a lot of them aim at 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to see the difference between a 2-hour runtime and a 75-minute runtime, because it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to finally get to the Cat Kingdom, even though it takes like about 5 minutes for the cats to arrive in Haru's world. And it was just fun to see them see someone that wasn't Miyazaki or Takahata tackle a film. It's kind of like when you watch that dark age of Disney era of Disney films, like after Walt passed away and such.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the same, like, of the 9 old men working like every other film, and you kind of pick up what kind of director they are, what kind of storyteller they are, designer, and what have you. Here it's like you get to see what someone else can do with the budget of a Ghibli film. And it's very charming. I liked the overall movie. I have a few complaints, but it's mostly just like, I wish it was longer. I wish there was a little more action. I want to be in this world.
That's pretty much the extent of my criticisms too. I wish we had more time to spend in the Cat Kingdom, especially. I kind of wish we met Prince Loon a little bit before, obviously, returns at the end of the film.
Oh, yeah. No, he vanishes for like a mass majority of the film.
And then I guess just as a character, Haru could have been a little bit more of a personality outside of a discount Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Well, the problem is that The Cat Returns is a very entry-level Ghibli movie. It's kind of like Castle in the Sky in that regards. Like if Castle in the Sky was a little more lightweight. Because the characters are very simple. Haru has a lot of self-doubt, and she doesn't believe in herself or what she wants to do or what she thinks her future has for her. And that's like a constant thing with the Cat Baron, saying like, you got to believe in yourself.
And that's a great message.
No, it is. It is. It's just very familiar that we've seen. And then they just add a lot of charm and charisma to the Cat Kingdom and the cat characters. Fun fact, Andy Richter's character, Natoru, is delightfully like kind of sadistic in a way. Like he's kind of has a innocent sinisterness to his personality. And this is one of the few casting things that people have an issue with. Not because like Andy Richter doesn't do a good job. He does. He's very funny, and it's amazing. It's good to remember how funny Andy Richter can be. But the character he voices was actually a female character.
Oh yeah, I can kind of see that now in the design.
Yeah, so it's a little weird. I wonder if they just couldn't find someone, or they just thought, hey, let's just change things up a bit because who cares? I guess.
I'll give Disney the benefit of the doubt. Assume that it was probably like a blind audition. They must not have really known that much about the original character,
Right.
Because Natoru doesn't sound like a feminine name.
No, but you look at the design and it's like, oh, it makes sense. And you see some of the mannerisms. And by the way, this will not be the last time we see Cary Elwes, because he'll pop up in, like we said, Whisper of the Heart, but he'll pop up in one more Ghibli film. I think it's one more. I forgot, but don't look it up. I want to keep it a surprise. But and I love the Baron. He's such a fun action hero fantasy character. I love like when he's fighting off the guards in the third act with the cane. And I'm glad they didn't go with like, oh, it's a sword hidden within the cane.
It's just a cane.
And he's just looking at the cane. And he's like, well, I bent it, but who cares? I needed a new one anyway. And then, of course, we have Peter Boyle in his one voiceover role, or at least one of the few he did. But it was like, it's the one that he's most known for as Muta, or Ronaldo Moon. And at first I was like, I don't know if the voice fits or like his performance fits the character. But then Baron's like, oh, that's a shame. I was going to break out some angel food cake. Okay, where is it?
That's when I knew I was going to like this character.
And they do those little Ghibli charming things like Toto, voiced by Elliot Gould, who's not in the movie a whole lot, and it was just kind of weird that they got such a big name for the character. But I guess it's like Elliot Gould has a cool voice. Let's bring him on. And like he's like, oh, I'll go get my mulberries to have along with the cake. And then Muta is making whipped cream for the cake, and the Baron's helping out with that. It's all very cute. But then we have to talk about at least one of the most fun villains or antagonistic characters. That
Tim Curry as the Cat King.
Yeah. I forgot the exact behind the scenes thing with the Cat King, like just like the mannerisms and such. Like, because I think like there's a variation of how Tim Curry portrays him, like in the original Japanese dub. But I love like the first thing when you see him, he just lazily looks over and he's like, "Sup, babe." He talks like a cool 60s hippie that you would see on like a beach in California or Florida or something.
And I didn't expect that when he was first introduced. I was expecting a more, I guess, stereotypical Tim Curry performance, and he does kind of devolve into that, like as he gets angrier and he becomes more of like the villain.
Yeah.
But when he's first introduced, it was a little bit jarring, like hearing him like, "Oh, everything's going great, babe."
Yeah, don't worry about it, babe. It's like, how about you get a cool cat? Like, I'll take care of you, baby. But it fits within this weird world that they build. And I love, like, the little entertainment sequence where they think that Haru, who, like, when she enters the cat kingdom, starts to slowly turn into a cat. They think she's depressed, or just, like, she's not happy. Well, of course she's not happy. She doesn't want to be there. She's turning into a cat. They bring in all these entertainers. And then... And then they bring in if they're not amusing enough, or just like because of the Cat King and Natori, voiced by Renee, are misunderstanding why Haru is upset, they just chuck them out the window.
Every time that happened, I would say, "You threw off the Emperor's groove."
Excuse me, sir, but you've thrown off his groove.
Sorry.
It was just very charming. This movie has a delightful sense of humor, or like when they're trying to get through the maze and the cat guards are blocking with those fake walls, and then like they knock over the walls and it sets like up a perfect path to the
Mhm.
tower. Like there's a lot of delightful visual gags and dialogue jokes.
I think this might be one of the more playful Ghibli movies that I've seen.
Yeah, and it might just because that it's a delightful fantasy tale. So just have fun with it. And they do that, like the Cat King is very expressive as a character. He's not just that kind of like lazy, stoned out king. Like when they keep progressing in the maze, his eyes bulge out and then they like spin around. And then they're like, now where's my remote to blow up the tower? And it's like, it's back in the castle, sir. You'd have to go and get it. And then Naturu pops up. He's like, look what I found. There's just so much personality within this film that I'm not saying you don't see this in future Ghibli films, but you don't see it enough per se. Like, I don't know. I'm at that point in my life where I'm kind of like, I love the later Ghibli films. I mean, we've talked about that. I love the later ones, but I'm also like, the more I watch the more fantastical films, I miss that as well.
Based on what I've seen so far, my style of Ghibli is like the first half of their library, Castle in the Sky, Nausicaa, the ones that are more like the swashbuckling adventures. And I almost think that I could watch like a full 26 episode anime series set in the Cat Kingdom because I just love these characters so much.
They could have really made a whole series of films within the Cat Kingdom and such, because they do introduce a few universe building elements that they don't really explain, like how dogs are in this universe, but they're like, cattle and herd like animals. Because you see one dog in the background at one point, and then they never bring attention to that.
Yeah, he's just there.
And it's a fantasy adventure thing. The way that the film portrays the Cat Kingdom, it's very small, very low key. It's like it's just one side of a kingdom, of like a world that they could have gone to. It's just fun to watch the Cat Baron interact with Haru. It's just so cute and charming, and just how royal and regal the Cat Baron is. He kind of has a sense of humor, but he's mostly just he's very straight-faced as a Ghibli protagonist.
It's Elways who brings that charisma out of the character.
Yeah, and like I said, with the world building and such, they reveal very late in the movie that Muta was this cat thief known as Ronaldo Moon. Okay, that doesn't add anything to the story.
They did kind of like foreshadow that earlier with like one of the Cat King's assistants being like, I know this cat. He looks familiar.
Yeah, but it felt very last minute to me.
The reveal kind of felt tacked on. Probably would have worked better if this was like an episode of a full-length anime.
Yeah, no, I wish there was one more fight between the Cat King and the Baron. Just like because it ends on such one of those like samurai jousting kind of things where they jump at one another and you don't realize who lost until like a few seconds after they land.
Oh yeah, that classic trope.
Yeah. And even though all the worst that happens to the Cat King is he loses that purple eye thing, which was that purple eye thing causing him to go mad? Because they don't really explain that
That's a good question.
I was thinking it was due to just the world itself and some of the little elements that they put together, but it was just interesting that they gave him that little eye, that third eye thing, and don't really call attention to it. And I do love the ending though when they return to the human world and they walk down a flight of crows.
That was a great sequence.
That's like the real Ghibli whimsy there. Or like when the Baron says farewell to Haru, where he's just like, if you need me, you can call me anytime. Then jumps into the air and then lands on Toto and flies off. And it's just kind of cute. And it was a cute ending too, where Haru and her friend Hiromi are just like, like I'm not going to worry about right now or what's going to happen in the future. I'm just going to take it in stride. which is a very good way of looking at things. But in the end, this is just a cute movie to watch, and one I would definitely recommend if you want to start on the smaller side of Ghibli to show to people. And I've seen this with a lot of people. They choose this movie to ease them into like The Castle in the Sky, The Spirited Away, The Grave of the Fireflies, and whatnot.
I would agree. This is if you just want to like a little taste of like what Ghibli is capable of, then this is a good sample size. Even if like Miyazaki wasn't directly involved, his fingerprints are still kind of deep within its DNA.
Right.
Which, before we spin the wheel, I do kind of want to ask, because I brought this up in a Facebook group. How much longer do you think Ghibli will be around after Miyazaki officially retires? Should they be around longer?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before. Miyazaki and Toshio Suzuki did not do a good job. How to word this? They didn't future-proof their studio because Takahata is now gone. Whatever directors they did have either passed away, which is what sadly happened to the Whisper of the Heart director, or they moved on to other studios and other projects, like the Deer King director worked on Ghibli films before moving into the anime industry, more into it. And then the guy who directed Arrietty and When Marnie Was There founded his own studio with a ton of the veterans from Ghibli. And they made, Mary and the Witch's Flower, which I still think is great. I don't care what people say about that movie.
Oh, I didn't even realize people didn't like it.
Well, it's just like, oh, it's Ghibli light because it's trying to be Ghibli. When it's like, y'all haven't had a taste of Ghibli in years. I will take this.
That studio, by the way, for those who don't know, is called Studio Ponok.
Yeah, and they have a Olympics short. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's great. They worked on a anthology series of short films called Modest Heroes, and it's really good too. We'll have to talk about that sometime. Well, maybe we'll do the G Kids wheel when we get to that. Let's spin the wheel first, and then I'll do my recommendations.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right, Ghibli wheel. Tell us what we're going to watch next. Are you ready to watch one of the other non-Miyazaki Takahata directed animated features?
Which one is this?
We're talking about the infamous Ocean Waves, the very last Ghibli film to finally reach stateside from the old era of Ghibli. Not because we got Earwig and the Witch, but this one was infamous for starting out as a TV special that Studio Ghibli was going to have a bunch of young animators and artists at the studio make. It went over budget, went over time. They turned it into a film, and then it didn't do well, and then they never did that again.
Ouch.
And that's not a sign of the quality of the film. I actually enjoy it. It's a very different Ghibli film. It doesn't have any whimsy attached to it. It's more like a teen drama, like of the time, which isn't bad. It's just, well, you'll have to watch it to find out.
It sounds very fascinating.
I was honestly kind of shocked to see this one pop up just because I didn't expect it to be so early, because it was stuck between Whisper of the Heart, Pom Poko, and Porco Rosso on the wheel. Like, I'm curious of when we're going to watch some of these early Miyazaki and Takahata, or later Takahata and Miyazaki and such. But anyway, that's what we're going to watch next time.
Let me get my recommendation out of the way. I know it'll be a while before we talk about this in greater detail, but by the time we record this episode, like the first 5 episodes of The Owl House have all been released. They're on Disney Now or Disney On Demand. Oh my God, season 2 is off to a really great start. If you liked the first season but thought it either lacked focus or took too long to get to the main story, season 2 has been pretty much nothing but bangers. We're only at episode 5, and already the fan base has kind of like lost their collective
minds.
Yeah, like, I'm trying not to spoil anything
Don't.
Oh my God. If they keep up this momentum, season 2 will go down in history as like one of the best single seasons of a Disney animated series since like Gravity Falls season 2.
That's awesome. I can't wait to watch these new episodes. And of course, they're going to be on Disney Plus very soon.
Yep. July
And
21st, you'll get the first 5 episodes.
yeah, no, I can't wait to watch this second batch. Now, since it will be until mid-August or so when we do the anime summer 2021 impressions, there's a lot to recommend now. Like the anime are slowly starting to roll out. We're almost there with having all of them released. Now, I could go the route of like, I didn't like this one, but it has a really out there opening. But I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to recommend something, at least for right now, I want to recommend it because I enjoyed it and I think y'all would enjoy it. I'm going to recommend 2, and they're not the obvious ones. Like I could recommend the Aquatope on White Sand, which is by PA Works, and it's really good. But my 2 recommendations will come from Crunchyroll and Funimation. The first one is Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, which takes a very meta comedy approach to the isekai genre, almost in the same vein as Put a Quarter in a Jar, Konosuba, because it has a very mean, cynical spirit to it, but it works around that. Like it's like the point is to make fun of the isekai trappings and tropes. It like its first episode made a very good first impression. I don't know if it's going to do that with the second and third one. Very promising. It looks good, the action's fun, but it's really funny. I highly recommend that one. And then if you love anime like Utena, I recommend going to Funimation and watching Kageki Shoujo, which is about these girls who go to a performing arts school, like a very prominent, famous performance school. And it has like this ex-idol that goes there and then meets this really tall, blonde girl who's kind of like, why is she here? She's not really the ideal person for this kind of place. But then everything kind of revolves around her just shaking things up and such because her goal is to be like the main performer, the main star of the big performance piece. And it has some really good animation. It has my favorite opening to any anime this season so far.
Ooh.
And it's because it also has a great song for it. And it just has a great writing, characters. It's a great first impression, and I wasn't expecting that. It actually goes very well with watching Stranger by the Shore.
Huh.
Just because of like, it's an LGBTQ plus romance anime, so, or at least it's setting itself up to be one. But we'll have to see. So those are the 2 I recommend, like out of the ones that are out right now.
I've heard a lot of good things about Kageki Shoujo, and I'm really glad to hear that you dug that first episode.
I mean, I'm always against that type of like, guys can't like things that are not manly and macho and, all that toxic BS. I'm a guy that likes romance. I love comedies. I love rom-coms. It shouldn't be an outlying opinion that a guy can like these things. Kind of weird how that still sometimes lingers around. One of my favorite anime from last year was Smile Down the Runway, a Project Runway anime. Like, it's not a Project Runway anime, but it's like fashion and modeling and such.
Yeah.
Like, I have a very wide taste in anime. I'm not saying it's better, but I'm down for more than just what is aimed at boys and men and such. So
That's good. It's good to have an expanded palette.
no, variety is the spice of life. Don't knock it till you try it. I know one of my friends was like, "What? Really? This is your favorite one so far?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, watch it." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, that was good." But yeah, that's it for me.
All right. So next week is the big one. We're talking Space Jam: A New Legacy. with my two buddies from Ramble on the PJ Campbell Network. We've got Dan Nye and Eric Muller. And this is going to be a fun episode. I can't wait.
We will have to see how I feel about Space Jam, and hopefully my cynicism of the trailers for the second one are wrong. Like, I know we dunk on it and we're all like, man, I don't know, this looks terrible. I don't want that to be true. Who wants to be like, I was right, it was bad? I don't want to be that. That's terrible. That's a terrible mindset to go into.
Yeah, nobody wants to be that sourpuss. But
No.
more on that later.
Yeah.
For now, Cameron, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/CamsEyeView or at CamsEyeView. I have my own website called camseyeview.biz where I review animated films and shows based on, it's called The Other Side of Animation. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/CamsEyeView where you can, if you like what I write and what I do, you can support me that way. That'll be all.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at CaptainK42. Check out all my quick thought reviews on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also look for us on Podchaser. And coming soon, we will be launching a Patreon. Details to be determined. You can listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You need escape? So do we. That'll do it for this installment of Renegade Animation. Thank you guys for joining, and we will catch you guys later. Peace out.